Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all of you. Um, so we have come to week 4 of the semester, and for this week we will cover the topic on um, another skill of academic reading, which is as you can see on eCampus under week 4, which is academic essay structure, as well as the thesis statement. Those are some of the parts that we need to have in an academic essay, and what constitutes a good academic essay, a proper structure that includes a thesis statement. I will be sharing the screen. We will have a rather quick session today because the Zoom is limited to only 40 minutes. So last week we have talked about identifying main ideas and supporting details, making inference and drawing conclusion. Those are the skills under academic reading. And now we are coming into academic writing, which is the structure of academic essay, as well as the thesis statement. Today we are going to talk about the first assessment, which is assessment 1, the reading matrix. Later on, you will be able to take a look at some of the materials uploaded onto eCampus. So for the purpose of this face-to-face lecture, we will take a look at first the academic essay structure. So a good essay, a good write-up, a good writing, a good piece of writing will have a good structure. And the structure is like any other essay write-up. You will have an introduction, you will have a body paragraph, depending on the points that you have. So normally it will be 4 to 5 paragraphs. So that would cover like 4 to 5 points or ideas, and also a conclusion paragraph. Um, what do we have in the introduction paragraph? So normally in the introduction paragraph, we will have um, a general statement like the background of the topic. So let's say the topic is about whether vaccination is good or bad, is safe or not safe. Then we'll talk about the background of the issue about vaccine. So what happens nowadays the issue about vaccination and the pandemic, for instance. So what about it? So to give the readers, the audience of your academic essay, a brief idea of what happened recently in regards to the pandemic, and also people acceptance towards vaccination. So that will be the general statement. And then of course, if there are terms that people might not be familiar with, then we can also define, for example, maybe vaccine. COVID-19 stands for coronavirus 19. And in the introduction paragraph, there are two things. So one is the general statement, the overall background of the issue or the problem. And once you have done with the background of the issue or the problem in 5-6 sentences, depending on the length of the essay, then the last sentence of your introduction paragraph will be the thesis statement. So the thesis statement will tell the audience, the readers of your essay, what you are going to discuss throughout the essay. So when people read your thesis statement, which is the last sentence in your introduction paragraph, they will get an idea of what you are going to talk about, what you are going to write in the rest of your paragraph, in the rest of the body paragraphs, in the coming body paragraphs. So body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on how many points that you have. So the thesis statement has to be very clear. And this will be like the main idea of the whole essay. So last week we talked about identifying main ideas for each of the paragraphs. So thesis statement is like the main focus or the main idea of the whole essay. So when people read your thesis statement, their mind, they will have a clear understanding that these are the things that you are going to discuss in your essay. So a good essay will have a good thesis statement. And then once you have done with the introduction paragraph, you will have the body paragraph. So the body paragraph will be the main idea that you have, that you are on the topic that you are going to discuss. So where do you get the main idea? Last week we talked about reading from the different sources, from the articles of different sources, getting the main ideas as well as the examples or the explanation, the supporting details that on how you can justify or explain the main idea. So the main idea is called as topic sentence. So last week we talked about identifying main ideas and supporting details. So main idea in a body paragraph, we call it as topic sentence or opening sentence. So the first sentence of each of the body paragraph is the main idea. So firstly, vaccination is safe or vaccination is beneficial as it can create herd immunity. So that is your main idea. And the rest of the sentences, you will explain, you will elaborate, you will justify the main idea. So the main idea can be positive, can also be negative. So you can have like 2 paragraphs talking about the positive values of vaccination and another 2 or 3 paragraphs talking about the side effects of vaccination if your topic is on vaccination. So the main idea is the topic sentence, same thing. And then normally it's just one sentence. And then the rest of the paragraph will be the supporting details. So last week we talked about examples, explanation, illustrations, and statistics, numbers or percentage, and then we can also have research findings. So there are a list of supporting details that you might want to in your supporting details of that body paragraph. So how many body paragraph depending on the length of the essay. So if let's say you have like 1,000 words, so normally 4 body paragraph, 4 main points or main ideas. So you will discuss the points here, whether or not something is good or not good, something should be allowed or not allowed, to inform people about something. Online learning, for example, is it recommended or not recommended, recommended for a certain group of people, but not for school students, for example. So it can be positive, can be negative. If let's say you have done the research, you have find articles from different sources, mostly talk about the positive aspect of that particular thing, then it is possible that all of your body paragraphs, you talk about the positive aspects of that topic. So once you have done with the body paragraph, in which you have 2 things, which is the main idea followed by the supporting details, you cannot cut and paste from the internet. So you have to what we call as paraphrase. So in the coming weeks, we'll talk about paraphrasing. So once you have done with the body paragraph, then it will be the conclusion part. So there are 3 things that you will have in your conclusion part. One is the concluding sentence. So you say, to conclude, this essay or this article has discussed about this and that. So normally the concluding sentence will be similar to the thesis statement. So this paper argues about the side effect of vaccines. So your concluding sentence, you'll say that to conclude, this article has discussed the advantages and disadvantages of vaccination. So you don't cut and paste exactly, but you play around with the words. So once you have done with the concluding sentence, you summarize the main points. So how many points that you have? Let's say you have 4 body paragraphs. That means you have 4 points. You summarize in 1 sentence or 2 sentences the main points. And then lastly, you give your suggestion, what people should do, or your wish of the future, what the community should do in the future if it is an issue or problem, depending. But you don't include a new idea in your conclusion paragraph because all the ideas are in the body paragraph. And lastly, in the end of your essay, you'll have the reference. For you to have reference, you need to have the citations. So from the research, from the sources, from the articles that you have found in the internet. So in your supporting detail, you say, according to this person, it is true or it is not true, it is relevant, not relevant. So you cite people. So that is what we call as justify. You justify, the justification, you justify the main idea to strengthen your point of view. So with that, people will see your academic essay or your article as very strong, very convincing. Of course, in the first week, we talk about coherence and cohesions with linking words or linkers, firstly, secondly, in your paragraph, to begin with, finally, to conclude, however, furthermore, does, hence, next. So those kind of linking words that you can always find on the internet. So that is basically the structure of an academic essay. Next, we will take a look at thesis statement. So the focus of today is the structure and as well as the thesis statement, which is in the introduction paragraph of the academic essay. Later on, we will take a look at a sample of an essay so that we can understand better. Now we'll take a look at the content of the structure of academic essay as well as the thesis statement. So as mentioned just now, the thesis statement is located in the introduction paragraph and in the last sentence of an introduction paragraph. But if you read an article somewhere in the internet, so you can also find the thesis statement. If it is a good essay, a good article, it can be in the last sentence of the introduction paragraph, can be maybe some of the articles, they divide the introduction paragraph into 2. Some of the articles could also be in the middle of the introduction paragraph. But there should be a thesis statement if it is a good article. So it is a short statement that sums up the central point of your essay, the focus of your essay. We call it as the roadmap. So when people read your thesis statement, they know what you're going to discuss. The same goes when you're giving a presentation. Similar, you need to have a thesis statement. So people will be attracted to your introduction of your presentation. They will want to listen to the rest of your presentation because they get a brief idea of what you're going to discuss. So later on, you can take a look at the notes. This one will be available on eCampus. So understanding what makes a good thesis statement is one of the major keys to writing a great research paper. So thesis statement, that means it is very important. Let's say you read an article, but you couldn't really understand. So that means you have not found the thesis statement yet, or maybe the thesis statement is very weak. So normally when I do the marking of your essay, I'll take a look at the thesis statement. If you take a look at the rubrics later on, you'll be able to see that thesis statement contributes some marks to the essay. People might not understand well your essay because of your weak thesis statement, or it is not there at all, or maybe you cannot understand other people's article on the internet because the thesis statement is very weak. You couldn't understand maybe the way it is structured. Doesn't seem like a thesis statement, wrong words being used to introduce the thesis statement. So it has to be short, normally just 1 sentence, or can also be in 2 sentences. Normally in your thesis statement, you will also include the points that you are going to write in your body paragraph. So like the concluding sentence, when you summarize back all the main points in your conclusion, the same goes in your thesis statement. So this essay is going to discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of vaccination, which are, so you can include the points that you will later explain in your body paragraph in your thesis statement. Yeah, we have talked about coherence and cohesion. So later on, you can see the notes here. So you have to know what your paper, what your essay is all about, the topic, until you can write your thesis statement. So that means you need to have a structure first. What points are you going to discuss in your essay? Then only can you write your thesis statement. Another way of thinking of the thesis statement is what does this essay is going to discuss? So that is the question that you ask in your mind. So that would be the thesis statement. That will be the focus. What do you want to tell people? So that will be the main idea of your essay. So that will be your thesis statement. So similar, we talked about it last week. To understand the main idea in a paragraph, you can ask the question, what does the author want to tell you? So that would be the main focus. What do you want to tell people in your essay? That will be your thesis statement. What do you want to tell people in your first paragraph? That will be the first main idea or the first topic sentence of the first paragraph. Same goes to the rest of the paragraph. So what kind of sentences do we use in the thesis statement? So normally we will say this paper will focus on the side effects of vaccination. This paper will examine the impact of online learning on students. This paper will give an account of something. This essay seeks to understand whether or not vaccination is safe to the population. Or this paper seeks to, this essay seeks to explore the benefits of something, whether it should be allowed or should be legalized or should be illegalized. So the main objective of this essay is to determine whether this paper seeks to address what kind of problems or issue that we face recently. This essay critically examines, discusses, traces. The purpose of this essay is to what this paper will review. The aim of this paper is to determine or examine. So there are many ways of saying for your thesis statement. And in your concluding sentence, your conclusion, then you can say this paper has examined. This essay has seek. So you have to play with the words. This essay has critically discussed with the past tense, of course. But of course, you don't say the aim of this paper in your conclusion, because that is before. When we talk the aim of this presentation of paper is, it is before you write or you give the presentation. So you say the paper has determined or examined something. So that is thesis statement. Let us take a look at an example of a full essay, which will be available on eCampus. Later on, you can study in detail. So notes sample essay number 1 here. So this is a simple essay for our understanding, to help us to understand the structure of an academic essay. Of course, there are much more complicated articles or essay that we can refer to. So should marijuana be legalized? This is the topic. So you see the one in green. So the one in green is the background information. This is the introduction paragraph. And then you see the one in yellow is the thesis statement. So although there are agreements and disagreements referring to the general background on whether or not marijuana should be legalized, it cannot be argued that marijuana has both positive and negative values towards humans. You can also include the points in yellow or in pink here as part of your thesis statement. So you see, this is thesis statement. So when people read this essay as this sentence, the thesis statement, they know that you are going to discuss the positive and negative impacts of marijuana, the legalization of marijuana on human beings. So there you have your topic sentence or the first main idea, and then you have the supporting detail. And to make your supporting detail stronger so people will trust you, you cite people. So according to this person, what happened? According to, so you have some other citations as well. Second paragraph, same thing. You have the topic sentence, main idea number 2. And then you have the supporting details, and then you have the citation. So that people know it does not just come from your mind, but you do some research and then you cite what people are saying. So when people read your essay, they will be more convincing of what you are writing because you have done your research. How do they know you have done your research? Because you have the citation, one of it. The third paragraph, so you see the linking words that we have here. However, so we are talking about the positive, and now we are talking about the negative impact of marijuana. You have the topic sentence, the main idea number 3, and the supporting details. The same goes to paragraph 4, the topic sentence, main idea number 4, and the supporting details, and then the conclusion. So you see, we have the concluding sentence, all in all, marijuana has both positive and negative attributes to it. You can also say this essay or this article has talked about the positive and negative impacts of marijuana. And then you mention back all the main point. So it has the ability to reduce pain, number 1, paragraph 1, body paragraph 1, to reduce neurological and mental problems, number 2. However, cause memory problems, number 3. And heart disease, number 4. And then you have what you suggest to the people. Lastly, you will have the reference, the list of reference based on the citations that you have. So that is about it. So we have 10 minutes left. I'm going to talk about assessment 4. So if you take a look at eCampus later on, so under week 4, academic essay structure, there is another one below it, which is week 4, assessment 1. The group members, this assessment is done in group. The group members, the list of group members, they are here, assessment 1 group members. So you can see your group members' name in this document here. If let's say the same group members will be doing assessment 1, 2, 3, and 4. So from the first until the final assessment, you will be doing with the same group members. If they are not contributing, you can inform me. You can also proceed with the rest of the group members. If let's say there should be 4 people in a group, but only 3 are contributing, then the 3 of you can contribute, proceed. Or maybe 2 people are not contributing, the 2 of you can contribute, because this academic essay is not that complicated. Even you, one person, can produce an academic essay for this assessment. So if you click on the link here, assessment 1 reading matrix, you will be able to see the instruction and the marking rubric. So if you click on the instruction, so there are 2 topics. You'll be working in a group of 3 or 4 people. In this assessment, you will search and identify relevant information from reading text, which will be useful as input for your writing task. So in assessment 2, 3, and 4 will be based on the points that you gathered in this reading matrix. You will be using the same points in your assessment 2, 3, and 4. So for reading matrix, you collect the points and put into the table given the reading matrix. And then you will expand into a draft in assessment 2, in a full essay in assessment 3, and in the final essay in assessment 4. So you and your group members can choose one topic, either the influence of TikTok on students' learning or how educators can better use technology for teaching and learning purposes. There are two topics, you choose one with your group members. So in a group, so each student will search one article. So each of you, there will be 3 or 4 people in the group. You will search, each of you will search one article from the sources, reliable sources. The length of the article is minimum 1,000 words. If you do not know, you can cut and paste and put into Microsoft Word and see the number of words. From online magazines, online newspapers, online journals, or websites, you can choose either. So it is not necessarily that you need to have all 4 of these sources. It can be any of these. Use the template here. You can also use Google Docs. So cut and paste this template, put into Google Docs so that everyone can contribute and you can see the contribution. So put your names here, the names of the group member, Article 1, Article 2, 3, and 4. So number 1, what you need to have is the type of the reference, whether it is online magazine, online article, or from website or newspaper, types of reading materials, title of the article, the name of the author, and the date of the publication. Number 2, the focus, the overall focus of the article. So what does the author want to tell you in the article? So that is the thesis statement actually. That will be the focus of the article. So main idea. So the articles has to relate to the topic, one of the topics that you have chosen. The main ideas that you got from the article. Minimum 3, point form, but in complete sentence. State the page number if there's no page number because it is an online document. Which paragraph? So put in bracket which paragraph. Supporting details. Same, minimum 3 each person. In point form, but in complete sentence, state which paragraph or which page number. And then the conclusion. So you cannot cut and paste the author's conclusion in that article, but you use your own words. Then number 6, you have to do this together. Compare information, highlight similarities and differences. So 3 similarities and 3 differences between the articles, all of the articles that you have found. So this is the reading matrix. This is assignment number 1. So from this reading matrix, later on in assessment 2, you will be using the points and the supporting whatever that you have here to develop assessment 2, which is the draft. And from assessment 2, you will develop assessment 3, which is the full essay, and assessment 4, which is the final essay. So this is the template of the reading matrix. It is here on eCampus, and let us take a look at the rubric. So this is the rubric of the assessment. So you can take a look at the rubric on how to get marks. So in terms of whether the article is appropriate or not appropriate, you can text me the link of the article so that I can say it is okay or not okay. So the text, the article has rich information on the topic. The focus or the issues is accurate. So the one that you get from the article into the reading matrix, whether the focus, the thesis statement is highly accurate or less accurate, the main ideas are relevant that you have identified, and then the supporting details, whether they are relevant or not. So you can see 3 or 4 main ideas and supporting details. And the conclusions is accurate, and the comparisons of information that you have done with your group members is clear and relevant. So for items number 1 and to number 5 will be individual. Item 6 will be based on the group work. So you have to specify which article you are working on. In the reading matrix, there is the column. Based on the column, you put your name under article 1, 2, 3, or 4. And that is about it. That is about the first assessment, which is the reading matrix. And the submission will be 24th of November. So today is 7th of November, so there will be 2 weeks. It is a simple assessment. You can do it in like 1 or 2 days actually, but the submission will be on 24th of November. So far, any questions? Because we are running out of time, 2 minutes left on Zoom. So later on eCampus, you can the submission of this assignment is here as well. So only one assessment, only one group member submit. The rest you don't have to submit, only the representative submit. You name the assignment as group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4 or 6, 5 or 6, based on the list of the groups that is given on eCampus under week 4 assessment 1. So you see here assessment 1 group members. So you submit your document, save it as group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, 5, or 6. So that it'll be easier for me to trace. Cover page is not needed, just include the group names, the members, the group members' names on top of the assessment. Only one submission is required. So later on, after this class, you can take a look at some of the materials to understand better. There are some videos on academic essay structure and thesis statement, and also the notes and the sample essays.